I saw an object at a local junkyard in Hungary that stands approximately 2 to 2.5 meters tall. It appears to be constructed from a type of metal and has a bell-shaped design. I would suggest that it is likely a rocket engine cone. The two pictures depict different objects, yet they exhibit a striking resemblance, although the top portion of one appears to be missing or possibly replaced. Both objects are similar in size, material, and shape. They have been sitting at this junkyard for a year now, and it usually stored outside. Anyone know what this is? This is a 40-year-old cone from an old Soviet rocket. I'm not sure how long it has been at this scrapyard, but I'd bet money it was from some nearby Soviet facility that was abandoned after the fall and scrapped by the locals like a lot of USSR hardware. After the fall, people in a lot of places needed food, and the USSR had no claim to the materials anymore, so they were often pretty much up for grabs. This thing could be made of a variety of things. I'm not at all sure what kind of alloys the USSR might have been using in the 70s or 80s, but it is almost definitely either mostly aluminum or titanium for all the parts that are still shiny. Steel alloys, even stainless, won't hold up to the elements with this little corrosion for long. We can be sure it never saw space because it would have been pretty shredded on re-entry and would have required underwater salvage. It might have been test-fired at some point, or maybe it was never finished. It might have been a prototype or test platform, or it might have been intended to take something to space or deliver something unpleasant to another continent. It could have been a cast-off due to a manufacturing defect. I retrieved a 1.5-inch metal mechanical object from some cremains using a magnet. However, I do not believe it is related to any surgical equipment. It appears to have the capability to be pinch closed, but it is currently immobile. Any idea what this is made for? Medtronic T 2-stratosphere corpectomy implant. It's meant to be expanded in place and locked. Would be located in the spine. A corpectomy means removal of the body. T2 stands for tumor trauma. So in the event a tumor or some trauma affects one or more vertebral bodies in the spine, a surgeon can go in and remove the damaged body and place this device in there to restore, maintain height in the spine. There's more hardware involved to secure everything, screw and rods, bone graft materials, but that's the device's main purpose. I found a rusted metal structure approximately 2 feet tall, located 100 feet underground in an old cave or mine. It has pipes attached, and there is electrical wire wrapped around it, which appears white in color. Any ideas what this thing is? A hydraulic ram pump, or hydrum, is a cyclic water pump powered by hydropower. It takes in water at one hydraulic head pressure and flow rate, and outputs water at a higher hydraulic head and lower flow rate. The device uses the water hammer effect to develop pressure that allows a portion of the input water that powers the pump to be lifted to a point higher than where the water originally started. The hydraulic ram is sometimes used in remote areas, where there is both a source of low-head hydropower and a need for pumping water to a destination higher in elevation than the source. In this situation, the ram is often useful since it requires no outside source of power other than the kinetic energy of flowing water. I found this item in my great-aunt's guitar case, where it was wrapped in what appears to be an elastic shoelace. The metal nail component is contained within a plastic tube, and I presume it is related to an acoustic guitar. Any ideas what this thing is? It's a capo. A capo is a device a musician uses on the neck of a stringed, typically fretted instrument to transpose and shorten the playable length of the strings, hence raising the pitch. It is a common tool for players of guitars, mandolins, mandolas, banjos, ukuleles, and bouzoukis. The word derives from the Italian capitasto, which means the nut of a stringed instrument. Musicians commonly use a capo to raise the pitch of a fretted instrument so they can play in a different key using the same fingerings as playing open, i.e., without a capo. In effect, a capo uses a fret of an instrument to create a new nut at a higher note than the instrument's actual nut. I found a small, cylindrical metal object on the side of the road. It features a glass encasement in the middle and has a hole that passes through its center. It appears that it may have contained a liquid at some point, although I could be mistaken. I attempted to identify it using Google Images, but was unsuccessful. I also consulted my father, as I suspected it might be a car part, but he was unable to identify it as well. While some numbers are visible, the majority have worn off. Anyone know what this is? It's a broken cannabis oil vape cartridge. The glass tube is shattered and mostly missing. What is this cylindrical metal machine part that contains a rotor-like component responsible for driving a small shaft? The casing is quite heavy and appears to be made of a material similar to brass or copper, as indicated by its green patina. The inner rotor seems to be made of plastic, as it does not feel metallic. Instead of spinning, the rotor wobbles or pivots, which in turn causes the small shaft on the side to rotate. However, the shaft is broken off. When I cup my hand and blow into the openings, it easily causes the rotor to wobble. The outer ring is stamped with a Trident logo and the number 375, but I don't see any other logos or text. My initial thought is that it might be a component of a fluid or gas meter, given the relatively small and fragile nature of the shaft. This item was found in an Airbnb, which was otherwise filled with various musical instrument-related items, leading me to wonder if it could be a part of an organ. However, my searches have not yielded any results. Any ideas? It's the water meter measuring chamber to a Neptune meter co-water meter. It has the Trident symbol. This large wooden device was found as the centerpiece on the kitchen table in a home I just moved into. It is heavy, about 9 pounds, and the handle is about 13 inches long. As pictured, the handle is hinged and swings back, while the top wooden square unfolds on its own hinge, also pictured. I have no idea what it is or what its purpose is. Do you? It's definitely a tortilla press. I found this item at a thrift shop in Reno, Nevada. It stands about 7 inches tall, 6 inches wide, and 3 inches deep. The piece is black and features a unique design that I've never encountered before. It's made of a lightweight wood, slightly heavier than balsa, and feels like it weighs around a pound. It also came with a spoon. Any ideas? It's for condiments.